something happened. I don't know when, I don't know quite how, but at some point over the years, I seem to have lost my identity. And what's more important is I believe you may find that you have as well. Not the identity that you take out of your wallet at the liquor store because you still look young enough that they have to ask. Not that I have a problem with that. But I'm talking about like your personal identity, your sense of self. To begin with, the whole concept of identity is it's kind of weird in of itself because what is identity? What's your definition for it? Is it who you were in the past? Is it your experiences? Is it your vision for the future? Your ambitious self? How you think about yourself? Is it how other people think about you? And if it is about how other people think about you, who are those people? How do you decide? The concept of identity is so abstract, but for the purpose of this conversation, it's going to be defined as the most consistent set of patterns that you've acted upon. For example, when I was growing up, some of my more typical identity traits was I was really fast. I was a sprinter. I was really kind of good, you could say, in track and field. So I was known by that, citywide. Playing basketball, having long hair, having braids, not having a beard. So that kind of flipped. As time went on and got to high school, and I kind of got to the peak of those identity traits, being fast, playing basketball, being athletic. Then after that, went to college, get out of college, you go about your life. Then all of a sudden you find that all those traits that were part of your identity before, those things can't describe me anymore. So if that's who I was and I no longer have those today, I've lost my identity, right? You've lost your identity if your descriptions of the past no longer suit you right now. Now, that's a good thing. You lost your identity as opposed to maintaining that identity. Like the only way to accomplish that is if you're not growing, if you're not going outside your comfort zone, you're not developing yourself, you're not experiencing life. So of course your identity is gonna kind of fall off like a snake shedding its skin. It's a shame to the person who after 10 years still thinks the same way they did back then, still acts the same way they did back then, still has the same perspective of the world as they did back then. Not only is losing our identity a good thing, it's necessary for the development and what I consider the enjoyment of life. Because what makes life so great is that it comes in phases, and you have a new challenge to tackle each time. So is that part of your identity? Is that the part of the way you think and you feel? It's important to not get married to your ideas, not to get married to your beliefs. The more identity traits you identify with, and the deeper your association and your identity with those things are, the stronger the limitations that you place on your life. And so I've learned that, especially as an adult, as you experience life, it's no longer useful to view yourself as having a fixed identity. The most beneficial thing that I've learned, the most beneficial thing is being open, whether it's open to change, open to having new perspectives and ideas, understanding that you can be wrong and learning, being open enough that I've allowed for the possibility to adapt when situations call for that. A good example of that is Kobe Bryant. Rest in peace. He was obviously known for basketball, right? The legacy he left. And when his career came to its end, he still took that same work ethic that he had with basketball and he put it into storytelling, into being an author, being a teacher, being a philanthropist. He didn't allow his former identity to cast a dark shadow above him for the remainder of his life. He just took that same effort and passion and put it into something else. He created a new identity for himself. I'm happy that I lost my identity, and my new identity is like mist. It doesn't have a solid form. It can move and mold, and it bends. It's not fixed. Don't get married to your labels. Don't accept the labels. The labels are what limits us. If you find yourself growing up in an unfortunate circumstance where like money's an issue, or the cooperation of your parents is an issue, or you're in a country or a city in the world that is less fortunate, there's a lot of different circumstances that can cause you to put labels on yourself. The stronger these labels go, the tighter the chains on our ability to develop. Because we hold on to this identity, we won't remove ourselves from it. If you have an identity as being poor, or an identity as being unlucky, for example, these labels, some people actually hold on to it and it becomes part of them, and they don't know how to get out of that. That's what happens if someone maybe is at a disadvantage when they're in grade 1, they do bad in their schoolwork, and they get called dumb. And no matter how much they develop, they've already believed what's been said of them. They let other people's ideas of who they are actually affect who they are, and that should never happen. So, like Kobe Bryant, I'm trying to shed my old identities, some that I made the choice to let go of, like basketball and track. Some of them I didn't have a choice, and so I want to encourage you to do the same. Ask yourself, what identities have you been holding on to, maybe from a much younger age? Consider who you want to be. Identity is not it's something that happens by accident. Your actions lead to your identity, and your thoughts and your choices lead to your actions. So make better thoughts, take better action. That's what I'm trying to do here. I mean, maybe for some people, my identity is a videographer, a YouTuber, and I accept that, but I also am open to the idea that it might change one day. It probably will. I hope you got some insight from this video. If you did, please hit the like button below. Feel free to subscribe to get notified of all future videos, and I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.